All right, so I'm going to ask you something real quick. I don't want you to think about it too long. I just want you to answer. You got 15 seconds to go in your house and get anything before it blows up. What are you going to get? Colton. One. You got 15 seconds. All right, you're done. Sheila, 15 seconds. Get anything out of your house. What are you going to get?
My purse, I don't know.
Good. We're gonna assume you got your cell phone on you because I know everybody's gonna go, my damn phone. All right, cell phone's on. You got 15 seconds to go in the house and get whatever you want. Joe.
DJ.
We're going to assume no people are in the
Hey, you
house.
left DJ today. Where's he at?
We're gonna assume nobody's in the house. You got your cell phone. What are you gonna get? Your cat. Oh.
I'm going to get my family Bible.
We're gonna. Oh, see. Finally, somebody gave a churchy answer.
She has her family Bible.
I've always told my boys that, you know.
Oh, did you really?
If something happens, it's my grandma's Patrick Bible. I'll get grandma's Bible because it's got so much history in it.
Right? Yeah.
That's why
Well, that's true.
Yeah.
Okay, we take out the cell phone. We assume all animals and gerbils and hamsters and cats and dogs and birds and people are out of the house. What inanimate object that's not living would you get out of your house if you had 15 seconds? What do you think, Connie?
Oh, I was going to say birth certificates, insurance.
That's good. Yeah, good. You know where all that stuff is?
Yep.
Did you get it in 15 seconds?
I don't know if I can.
We'll give you 30.
After today, she may go get 15 seconds.
Your house blowed up, man, 15 seconds ago. You took too long to think. That's okay. All right, so what I hear you saying is that you're going to go get things that are somewhat irreplaceable. There are things that would be hard to replace, such as insurance policies and this kind of stuff that would take a lot to do. That's good though. That's a smart answer. I like that. The family Bible. That's something that means a lot to you. Pictures and things like that. You know, things that would be hard to replace is probably what you're going to go get. So we're going to go to Matthew chapter 13, verse 44 through 46. So what we've been talking about, we're talking about parables. You remember what parable means? Parallel? What's parallel? What's a parallel line? Parallel line is something that goes beside something else, right? Two lines that go beside each other. So parable means it goes alongside something. The bull part means to throw alongside. Parable means Jesus was telling us stories that go alongside a central truth. What I like about parables is that they're not complicated. Now, some things in the Bible are very complicated, and you could spend weeks and hours and months just talking about one chapter. What I like about parables is we should not try to overcomplicate them. Talk in their language. A lot of times they were agrarian type things. You know, his audience, a lot of times farmers and people that worked the land. And so he was able to tell them stories that they could relate to about nature and these kinds of things. Now, many years ago, there wasn't a bank. You couldn't go and put your money in a bank. You would hide your money sometimes somewhere else. You're hoping somebody else won't find it. They would put it in the ground. Hidden treasure, as they would say. And if you didn't tell somebody where it was and you died, nobody would ever find where that hidden treasure was. Now, don't go home and start being like a gopher and hunting all over your yard, because this is a long time ago. But I guess who knows, right? Get a metal detector. Parable of the hidden treasure. So this is simple. Jesus is talking to people and he says, the kingdom of heaven is like a treasure hidden in a field, which a man found and hid. And for joy over it, he goes and sells all that he has and buys that field. Okay? And kind of like the sequel to this is the next one, the parable of the pearl of great price. Again, the kingdom of heaven is like a merchant seeking beautiful pearls, who, when he found one pearl of great price, he went and sold all that he had and he bought it. Okay. So what is Jesus trying to say here? These parables are kind of related because they both talk about something of great value to someone. The parable of the hidden treasure, it says, let's look at it again. Jesus says, the kingdom of heaven is like this. What was he talking about, kingdom of heaven? Is it a place? Is it a way of life? Kingdom of heaven, what is it like, Jesus? It's like treasure hidden in a field. This man was not looking for it, right? He just found it. He was out there, found it. But then to get it legally, at this time, you could, if you found something like this and it wasn't yours, you could buy the field where it was, and then you had the rights to anything that was on that field. In Kentucky, many years ago, there were people that would really search out fields to buy because what might be in it? Coal. There are a few gentlemen in Kentucky a couple of years ago that get very, very rich by just playing the odds and saying, I'm just going to go buy a bunch of land and hopefully we'll find coal on it. Sometimes they did, sometimes they didn't. But it's a completely legal transaction. So this person is not looking for something, but he finds it. He realizes how valuable it is. And then what does he do? He sells all that he has. He gave up everything he had for that field. That's how valuable that treasure that he found was to him. Now, the second one, it says the kingdom of heaven is like a merchant. And what is he doing? He's actively looking for something. He's actively looking for a pearl. He's actively looking for something that has a lot of great value to him. But he doesn't know where it's at. It says, he found one pearl of great price. And apparently this was, something that had an extremely high value because he went and sold all that he had and then bought it. So in both these parables, we can see that the two things that has been found is extremely high value. One person was looking for it, and the other one just stumbled upon it. How do we approach in our lives the kingdom of God in our own lives? Now, does God come to us and force us to love Him? No. You ever been forced to do something? You don't nearly appreciate it as if you came to it of your own volition. Things are only valuable if you have the choice to do it. God knows this. He knows that it's got to be a free will situation. Not everyone is going to find the pearl of great price in life, unfortunately. But what does He tell us to do? He says, one of the last things that Jesus said, go therefore unto all ends of the earth. And you need to tell people about this pearl of great price. Because many people need to know its value. And they either aren't looking for it or they don't know about it. So I'm depending on you to tell other people. And if everybody have a VCR back in the day? Beta or VHS? Good old machines, weren't they? When those first came out in America, that was the thing. The first VCR we bought was $800. $800, remember that? Now I think you can get them for $15 a yard sale. But look at that. Now it's $15. Then it was $800. It was of great value because you could put a tape in a machine and watch a movie at home. What the heck? It was great, wasn't it? You could record things on it. We loved our VCRs. What was funny is, though, at the same time, in a little village in Africa, anthropologists going there to study the culture, help them build some water wells so they could have fresh water for their community. And he went into one of the homes of one of the basically city council members, you'll say, of the African village, to work with them on building the well. And there on his makeshift coffee table in his living room was a VCR. Didn't have a TV. But he had seen in the newspaper how valuable these machines were in America, and he knew that it was a sign of prestige and money. And he was considered one of the most respected people in the community, so he therefore decided that he was going to have a VCR. Had no idea what it was for or why America was so crazy over it, but you had to have one. Isn't that funny? And so that's a true story. And that tells you right there what people value. Sometimes they don't even know why they value it, but somebody told them it was worth a lot of money. I love these yard sales and these little shops that have antiques and stuff like that. And then also, we like to talk about things like, guys don't get this, and I have to research it and understand it. I can look at one purse, and it's about, somebody will say, it costs about $20 at Walmart. And you can see this other person on TV walk by with a purse and a commercial, and I'm told those things cost like $800. Those things cost more than $800. More than I put in my purse in the first place. If I had one. Edit that out. All right, so what are we saying? We're saying that they're both just made out of material. One apparently has so much greater value than the other one. Now, to me, I look at them, they look exactly the same. I'm like, functional. What's it for? To carry your stuff in. But apparently it's a lot more than that. It's like, I've got what's the thing, Gucci? What product? Gucci? Coach.
Louis Vuitton, yeah.
Oh, she knows them all. All right, so.
We know who has the money that.
You got one of these, don't you?
No, I got a TV.
We're going to need you to bring a tenth of that purse in for your time. All right, so what we're saying as a purse is like, these are the kind of things. Somebody somewhere says what some value is to something. I don't know who they are, but sometimes you can see something, especially like at these auctions and stuff, and somebody's bidding on something, and they're like, I don't know if is that something important? Is that a thing? Is that something people are searching for? Is that an expensive item? Or is it not? I don't know how these people do this. But I had an uncle that passed away, and he was an auctioneer, and he was telling me how these things are valued. Okay. And people talk about the value of the dollar going up and down based upon the gold standard. All that just makes my head hurt to even think about how we do that, right? How does that even work? So the point is, in life, there's a lot of things that people tell you what's a value or not. But when it comes right down to it, when it comes to the end, and as the song said, one of these days we're coming to the end and every knee will bow. And when every knee bows, it's not choice at that point. One of these days, every knee is going to bow to God. It's not going to be by choice. It's going to be the end. Where are you in these choices in your life? What's keeping you in your life from making the most valuable things, the most important things in your life? One thing I've seen is that you will spend time with the things that are valuable. Where are you putting your time? Where are you putting your time in life? How do you protect? Well, you protect what's valuable, right? That's why people put stuff that's valuable in a safe. You lock your house, probably, when you leave.
Well, I hope you like it.
We hope so. All the people on the internet, everybody here locks their homes. So you can see that you do things to protect the things that you hold so dear. What are you doing to protect your relationship with God? If it's really that valuable, what are you doing to protect it? In relationships in your life, what are you doing to make sure that people understand how valuable that they are to you? What is keeping you from giving God your best, if it is truly that valuable to you. And you're always thinking to yourself, well, one of these days, I'm going to get my act together, and I'm going to do this, and and for some reason, something just seems to always kind of get in the way. Sometimes it's just putting stuff off. So I don't know. We all have different things that keep us from giving God our best. See if you can't determine what those things are. In Matthew 6:33, I'll just read this real quick. I've heard it a million times. Seek first the kingdom of God and His righteousness, and all these other things will be added to you. When you get confused in your week and in your day, and you're trying to figure it all out, keep the main thing that's the most valuable in your life the main thing. Everything else will take care of itself. I came in here today, and the sanctuary was 45 degrees. My first reaction was not good. I had to preach to myself for a few minutes. So, you know what? It's going to be okay. God knew the sanctuary was going to be 45 degrees. We got a lot of stuff to move in here in a very short amount of time. I can't do it on my own. I can't rewire all this stuff and broadcast outside, broadcast on the internet, make sure you can hear me. Put the words up on a TV screen and projector, get the laptop in here all in 15 minutes. I can't do it. Psst. God, you're going to have to do it. If He did, I can't tell you how. Sometimes you just have to say, I can't do it all myself, God. Let's not say sometimes. We should say it all the time. The things that you value. Ask yourself this week, what are the things you value? God wants to be the most valuable thing in your life, but He's not going to force Himself upon you. He wants you to make the choice. He has given you so many ways for Him to show you that He loves you. The Bible is an amazing book of God's love for man. That's why I like it so much. It's got a lot of stories in there about how much He loves us. He actually came down here as a person and said, all right, we're not going to talk about it now. I'm going to show you. Well, He did that. And then when He left, He said, all right, I'm not going to leave you alone. I'm going to send you the Holy Spirit. He's going to help you in your daily lives. He's going to help you get the sound system in the fellowship hall. He's going to help your truck get fixed. He's going to help you overcome death of people that you love in your life. Why? Because He loves you. What do you value? I'm going to read your story and then we'll close. Years ago, there was a very wealthy man, and with his devoted young son, they shared a passion for art collecting. Things of high value. Together, they traveled around the world, and they added art treasure after art treasure, painting after painting to their collection. They had works like by Picasso, Van Gogh, Monet, maybe even a Gucci purse or two, or Coach. I don't know. So they had a lot of really impressive, famous artwork that was known around the world that was valued at a very high dollar amount. And the son's trained eye and sharp business mind caused his father to beam with pride as he dealt with other art collectors around the world. And then as winter approached, the young man left to serve his country in a war. And only after a few short weeks, his father received a telegram. Several years ago, of course. The son was missing in action. He anxiously awaited more news, fearing that he would never see his son again. And within days, his fears were confirmed. The young man had died while rushing a fellow soldier to a medic to be treated. Now distraught and lonely, the old man faced the upcoming Christmas holidays with anguish and now sadness. The joy of the season, a season that he and his son had looked forward to so much, because he would visit his house no longer, and saddened him more. And then on Christmas morning, a knock came on the door. A knock came to the door, and awakened the depressed old man from his slumber. As he walked to the door, he noticed all the incredible artwork on all the walls and was headed to the door to answer. As he opened the door, he was greeted by a soldier with a large package in his hand. He introduced himself to the older man by saying, I was a friend of your son, and I was the one actually he was rescuing when he died. And I just have something I want to give you. And as the two began to talk, the soldier told of how the man's son had told everyone of his and his father's love of fine art. And he said, I'm actually an aspiring artist myself. And so I want to show you this. I want to give this to you. And as the older man unwrapped the package, the paper gave way to reveal a beautiful portrait of his son. And so the art world would probably not consider it the work of a genius, but the painting featured the young man's face in striking detail. Overcome with emotion, the man thanked the soldier, and he hung that painting in the most seen area of the house, right above the fireplace. He pushed aside thousands of dollars of other paintings, hung everything everywhere else, but the priority spot was given to the painting of his son. Well, then he sat in his chair right by the fireplace, and he spent Christmas just gazing at that gift and how amazing it was. During the days and weeks that followed, he realized that even though his son was no longer with him, his boy's life would live on because of all those that he had touched. Because he would soon learn that his son had rescued dozens and dozens of wounded soldiers while he was in battle. And as the story of his son's gallantry actions continued to reach him, the father's pride and satisfaction began to ease the grief and the pain of loss. The painting of his son soon became his most prized possession, far eclipsing any interest in all those other pieces around the house that people would say was priceless. And he continued to tell his neighbors and his friends his greatest gift in the world had ever received was that painting of his son. In the following spring, the older man became ill and he passed away. And now the art world was in anticipation to see what was going to happen with the amazing collection of art that he collected through the years. Well, according to the will of the old man, all the artworks would be auctioned on Christmas Day, the day that he had actually received his greatest gift. That day soon arrived, and art collectors from all over the world gathered to bid on some of the world's most spectacular paintings. The auction began with a painting that was not on any museum's list. It was actually the painting of the man's son. The auctioneer asked for an opening bid, and the room was silent. I said, okay, who's going to open the bid with, we'll say $100. Bidding starts at $100. Minutes passed and nobody said a word. And then from the very back of the room, somebody says, I don't think anybody cares about that painting. Let's just forget that one and go on to the next one. Everybody said, yeah, let's just go on. Let's get to the good stuff. The auctioneer says, no, actually, according to the will, we have to sell this one first of his son. Now, who's going to take the son? And just then, from the far right of the room, a faint voice from an old friend of the father spoke up and said, well, I know how much that his son meant to him, but all I have to give is $100. Is that going to be enough? Is that good? The auctioneer says, I have $100. Anybody go any higher? $100. Nobody said anything. The auctioneer said, going once, going twice, sold. Everybody says, finally, now we can get on with all this amazing artwork that's around. The auctioneer slammed his gavel down. He looked at the audience. He announced that the auction was over. Stunned disbelief quieted the room. What's going on? Chatter, talk. What do you mean it's over? Traveled a long way here to buy all these paintings. What about all these paintings? There's worth millions of dollars of art here. We demand that you explain and give us an explanation of what you're talking about. The auctioneer said, well, it's very simple. According to the will of the Father, whoever takes the Son gets it all. The will of the Father. Will of the Father. Whoever takes the Son gets it all. That's it. Right? It's the gospel message. Seek ye first the kingdom of God, and all these other things will be added unto you. Whoever takes the Son gets it all. Look what the Father has planned for you to have. Where do you place your most valued things in life? What are they? Is it Jesus? Or is it not? Will you make the most valuable thing in your life your relationship with God? That's the question that the Father has on the table for us today.
Try to